I wanted to introduce you guys to a very important part of my baking process, and that is what goes in this jar right here, the flour blend. I'm gonna make up some more, so I thought this would be a good time to show you guys. You see, getting a little low in there, and it is my biggest jar for a reason, because I do use it as a base in a lot of my gluten-free baking. I got this blend out of a cookbook. I didn't make it up myself, so I don't want to take any credit for it, but it has worked for me very well, and I just wanted to give you an idea of what goes into it. And it's just 3 things. There's some sorghum flour, some tapioca flour, and cornstarch, okay? I make about 4 cups at a time, and the ratios that I use is you use 1.5 cups of the sorghum, 1.5 cups of the cornstarch, and 1 cup of the tapioca. What I usually like to do is I'll actually put them into a big gallon size plastic bag and mix it all up inside the bag. I find that's the easiest way to do it. And then I put it into the jar because if I just put it into the jar and try to mix it in there, it doesn't seem to get mixed very thoroughly, and that seems to be the best way to do it. Use any method that you like, but it's a great base for a lot of my baking recipes, so you'll see me bring it up in other videos, and I wanted to make sure I told you guys what exactly that flour blend was. So there are 2 main mixes that I use besides the flour blend, which I've already talked about, and I use them in other recipes. So the first I'm going to talk about is my muffin mix. I use this primarily in my cornbread recipe, but it's come up in some other things. And to make the muffin mix, here's everything that you need. You need some of that flour blend that I've already talked about. We would use 2 cups of that, and then we want some sugar, 3/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1.5 teaspoon of the xanthan gum, and then a little bit of salt. I put it all in the Ziploc bag, mix it up, toss it around, kind of give it a nice even consistency, and then it's also a great way to store it for whenever you need it. Those amounts will make 3 cups of the muffin mix. So if you want more or you want less, just adjust the recipe and then just keep it on hand for future use. When we switch over to my other mix, which is the cake mix, it uses almost all the same ingredients, except we're going to replace the baking powder with baking soda, and we're going to use slightly different amounts of each of the products. For the flour blend, we're still doing 2 cups of that, but now we're going to do 1.25 cup of the sugar. So definitely increasing the sugar, because now we're talking about cakes as opposed to muffins. They're supposed to be sweeter. Only a teaspoon of the xanthan gum, 1.25 teaspoons of the baking soda, and then again, a little bit of salt. Put it into the bag, mix it up, keep it on hand for whenever you want to use it. This amount will also makes about 3.25 cups, so it's a little bit more. So again, adjust as needed, and then keep it on hand whenever you want to make yourself some chocolate cake or, basic vanilla cake, something like that. So these gluten-free blends are really nice to have on hand because you'll use them in other recipes without having to mix together all those things every single time, and it'll make the process go a lot smoother. So you'll see me reference those in other videos, and this is where I got them from. They came out of a book. I didn't make them up myself, but they are very handy to have around.